guys, welcome in, welcome in. We are here. We are here. You may or may not have noticed that I've been out for the past couple weeks. Things have been a bit hectic. I am preparing for my bilateral total knee replacement that's going to be on May 30th, my birthday. So I've been busy doing a lot of appointments, a lot of phone calls, a lot of arranging, things like that. So I am sorry I didn't see you for the last couple weeks, but we are here today and we are going to make a really fun project today with some gorgeous large hole pearls that I got from Bead Fest from JTV. Actually, I won them, so super gorgeous. And we're going to use some techniques that I'm fairly new to doing, like macrames and doing the square knots, things like that. But I do enjoy it, and I thought, let me show you guys what I know and make a fun project. Hi, Eileena, is that right? I always have a problem with that for some reason. So hi, sweetie. Hi, Deb. Hi, guys. So glad to see y'all today. If you don't mind, guys, hi, Joan. Give me a thumbs up and a share. I always appreciate that. That always can boost the post for me and stuff like that. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to turn the camera down. You know, that'll just take a moment for me and for you. There we go. My internet was a little iffy last week, so I tried to go live last week, but my internet was giving me all kinds of trouble, and by the looks of it, it's taken a long time to switch today, but that's okay. We're here. So fingers crossed, everything continues and goes correctly for us. So here's our project, guys. This is a really simple, cute little pearl bracelet. I do have it on leather underneath there, even though you can't see it, because I like the way that the leather holds up these larger pearls. And these pearls, I believe, are 10 by 12s. So, and they have large holes that I have. But any large hole bracelet you could certainly use, or excuse me, large hole bead you could use. Sorry, my dog's made some noise and distracted me. Any large hole bead you could certainly use with this project. And just to clasp some jump rings. I do have the leather ends that you push down and collapse on the ends of these, and that makes it really convenient when you're making bracelets with leather, and it gives you a really nice finished look. So that's the basic project. I have some 1mm leather I'm going to be using here. Of course, our pearls with our large holes. We're going to need a clasp, a couple of those leather ends, and a couple jump rings. And this is the new thing I'm kind of bringing to the party, guys. This is embroidery floss, and I have so much embroidery floss. And I thought, when I came across this color, I thought, wow, that's really pretty. I wish I could incorporate that into a piece. And then this is how I figured out how to do it. Because I figured, well, why can't I use that in place of hemp or whatever to do the square knots onto the leather? So we're going to cut a piece of this first, and I'm going to make it about 36 inches long. You're more than likely not going to need all that, guys, but I like to err on the side of safety. So we went ahead and we cut that, and we're just going to fold that in half for now. Okay. And just set that right there. I'll move our bracelet up here. Hi, Terry. Hi, honey. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see y'all. I missed you so much. So, excuse me. So we are using the Beading Time Station, which is a super cool product. I really like it. I have not used it in forever. So I drug that out and I thought, you know what? Let's put this thing to some work here. So you want to loosen up your hex nut here at the top. Okay. And they do come This is just a basic pad that's on here, and you can see they have holes here that if you want to make a project on here and tie into this instead of putting the material underneath, that is what it is. I was wondering what sort of magic was up your sleeve. Hi, Becky. Yeah, it's the Beadalon Time Station. Yeah, and it's very versatile. I love it. So we're opening up our hex nut, and as I was saying, the sorry, wrong way. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, right, guys? I'll take this off so I can show you. You don't have to take it off when you're putting your materials in, but there is this top pad that you can use. They also make one that has padding on it that you could use on either end. You get two of those with your tying station as well. We just need to use the basic flat one. And then there is a piece that fits underneath here into the top over that screw. And then there is actually a little pad underneath there as well. And that kind of is what keeps everything nice and secure for you. Okay, so I'm just going to set that back on there, put a little washer and grab my hex nut. And I'm just going to spin that back on there a little bit. And like I said, this is 1mm leather. And what I do is I leave a little bit sticking out the top of the leather. And I'm just putting that between these two pads. The one that I showed you, they fit down into the square and the top pad. Okay. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of excess up here at the top, maybe 3 or 4 inches, just for good measure, right? And then I'm just going to put this in the position that I want it, as close to that nut as I can get it because I like it centered. And then I'm just going to tighten this down, okay? Just like so. And that's in there very well. And then I'm going to pull that across, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And we're just going to lift that pad up. We're going to slide our leather in between those two pads. And I'm pulling this nice and taut because it does make it easier to work with that way. And then I'm just going to tighten that down just to make sure everything's nice and taut. It's good. It'll be perfect for us. And I'm going to do the same thing on this end. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of leeway. Okay. So there we go. That's all there is to putting that into it. I can't wait for you to show me how it is used. I may need one. Yeah, they're pretty awesome. They're pretty awesome. I actually discovered this years ago at Bead Fest. I took a class from someone, and I can't even remember who it was. That's awful. I might have been Meredith. But yeah, I took that class, and I really enjoyed it. And I bought the tying station as well. So what we're going to do with that string that we cut about 36 or so inches. I'm going to bring that underneath our leather, okay? And I'm going to find the ends. I'm going to put them together here. And I'm just going to pull that up toward the end of this. And I'm going to tie a knot. This is going to be our first attachment onto our piece of leather. We're just going to tie a knot here. Okay. Just to make sure everything is nice and secure on here. Oops. There we go. All right. So we'll tie that down. Maybe we'll do a couple of those. My hands are all fiddly today for some reason. All right. I want to make sure that I have about the same amount on either side and then tie that knot. Okay. And then I'm just going to tie myself one more just for good measure to make sure that everything's nice and attached. Okay. So, oh, guys, look at me. I forgot a step. Before you hook this other end in is when you want to feed your beads on. I do apologize for that. You're just going to feed all of your beads on. I've used 10 beads on this. See, my brain stutters sometimes. But I used 10 beads. And like I said, these are 10 by 12 pearls. And we're just going to feed those onto the leather. Luckily, with this tool, you can take it in and out easily. It works. If you forget something, you can certainly do that as well. So we're just feeding those onto that leather. Brain fart. And that's as simple as that. I love these pearls, the large hole ones you can put over leather. I love making things with them. Let's see here. Okay, I got some pop-ups. There we go. And our last two. Okay, now then, we're going to start over. And we're going to hook this in the way that we had it, exactly the way it was. And we're just going to tie that knot. Make sure it's nice and snug. And we're going to bear down with that screw and not tying. Okay, there. Now, so what we're going to do up here at the top, we did our 2 knots. We're going to start doing our square knot. And like I said, this is, I mean, I've just learned to do this in the last year or two, so I call that fairly new. So what you're going to do, I'm going to start out on the left side, and I'm going to make myself a backwards P kind of shape, if you can think of it that way. I'm going to take my string on the right-hand side, and I'm going to put it through underneath my, excuse me, one moment, underneath my, over top of the thread that goes across, underneath my leather and up through that circle that we made on the other side. Okay. And that's going to give us our first half of our square knot. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing over here on the right hand side. So we have a complete square knot. That's only half what we did there. So we're making a P. We have our P there and our string going down. We're going to, this is over top of the string that went across. Okay. This is over top of it. We're going to put this underneath our leather or strand that you have going down the center and up through the middle of the P. And we're going to give that a tie up here. Okay. And then I'm going to do this one more time because I want a little space on the end there for, you know, decorative purposes. So here we are again. We have our P set up and we just go left to right, left to right. We're going to go under the leather, up through the loop. Okay, and that's one side. And I'm just tightening that up nice and snug there. If you can see what I'm doing fully. And then we're going to go over to the right side. I have found that a lot of the times the hardest thing for me is to remember what side I just did if I get distracted. But you can tell if you just did the left side, your knot's going to be on the right. If you just did the right side, your knot's going to be on the left. Okay. So that's how I figured that out. So I'm going to do the same thing. This is over top of there. I'm going to take it under my leather through the middle. Okay. Tie that up here. Nice and snug. Okay. So that's our beginning there. So now what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to slide up one of our pearls right up to the area that we just did. Okay. Now we're going to incorporate our beads into the square knots. Okay. So we're going to make the P shape on the left, pull our string on the right over top of that, under the leather, through the middle of the P. Okay. And we're just going to give that a snug pull. And it will then go around your pearl. So as I'm putting this around, I want to make sure that it's not at a weird angle, that it is around the whole pearl so it looks nice for me. Okay. So I'm going to make a P on this side, guys, and do the same thing over top of the string, underneath the leather, through the middle of the loop. And there is a complete square knot. And I believe on this one, yeah, I did it twice. So we're going to go same thing on the left hand side, under and through, tighten it up. Maria, hi sweetie, haven't seen you in forever. I hope you're doing well. I love seeing all you girls in here. Miss you. Okay, so there we did that 2 times. We did 2 total square knots between each one. Let me see if I can lower this down for you guys so you can see a little better. I don't know why I'm so far up. There we go. That may help, right? And then we're going to just push up another one of our pearls, and we're going to do the square knot again. And through. What have you girls been up to? I haven't seen you in forever. Okay, left side. Up and through the middle of that circle. And I'm just making sure I want my pearl to be wrapped correctly with the string where I want it. And I can see this one's kind of sliding off. And I want to make sure that it's good and snug too. Okay. So I think I'll put that sort of like that on these. It'll hold better, I think, if I go around the center of them, just like so. Okay. And we're going to give, whoops, get this straight on here. I just want to get that one over and one under here. And there we go. I'm going to pull that up. Here, we're going to start this knot over because it's not cooperating with me very well here. So I'm going to pull that out. Let me grab my little string here. And you know the girl's got to make an appearance, right? So I just use this little tool. It just has a point on it, and it works really well for just starting your knots over. All right. So there we go. Now, I got perfect. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to continue our square knot. There we go. And this goes, yeah, there we go. There we go. I got you guys. Sorry about that. Now I got you. Go up, underneath, and through. Okay. What is going on here? See, I like to do this stuff because I think that when, you know, I'm working and things don't go exactly as planned, you know, I think it's good learning experiences for everyone. I'm not one of those people that I think I have to be perfect when I'm doing lives because that's not reality. That's not reality. We all fuss and fudge around with stuff sometimes. That's just how it goes, you know. Sometimes things go really smooth and sometimes they don't. That's just how it is with making jewelry. All right, so we're just going to continue that. What the heck am I doing here? There we go. There we go. Trying to rush. There we go. Perfect. We're going to go nice and slow so we can make sure we get everything we need here. There we go. And then same thing on the other side. We make our P over top of the strand, underneath the leather, and up through the middle of the circle on the other side. And then back to doing one more set because, like I said, we're going to do 2 sets per in between the pearls. Okay, I just think it looks nice. It gives you a little bit of decoration there, you know. So, whoops. So we're making our P on the left. We're going to go underneath the leather up through the middle of our P and pull that nice and snug. Okay. And then let's see. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. We're going to do one more. All right, and we're set. Now we're going to move another bead up. We're going to do the same thing. And I'm just kind of pushing them nice and snug together. If you want it more spaced out, you could pull things down, show your leather more. But I like the way that this looks. Okay. So let's do our loop. And our strand on the right is going to go over top of our string, underneath our leather, and through the middle of the circle. Okay. So we did it on the right. Now we go and we do it on the left. And we make our P. Then underneath the leather, up through the middle of the circle, pull, right side, same thing. I do apologize for the dogs, guys. Our neighbors got puppies, and my youngest dog kind of loses her mind with it, so. All right. So slide that up. Same thing. We may just need to add on a little bit more string, which won't be too much of a problem. Okay. What size are the pearls? The pearls are actually 10 by 12 millimeter, Maria. They're large hold, obviously, since I'm putting them on the leather. Okay. And one more. And I'm just going to keep going here. As always, guys, as I'm going through this, if you have any questions, certainly let me know. Or if you're watching the replay, just put them into the comments. I'll be happy to help you out. Go. Okay. And it goes pretty quick. This is a pretty quick project. But I really like the way that it comes out. You know, it's just such a cute little look. And you could mix this up with any colors. The leather, you could put what you wanted here. If you wanted to put hemp, that would work for you. But I like, as I said at the beginning, I like the shape that the leather gives. And it for these large of pearls, I think it really makes it a nice looking bracelet. Running late, had to get my granddaughter to sleep. No worries, Karen. Welcome in. Terry says knotting is a huge mystery for me as well. This is so helpful. Wonderful. I always am so glad when I can give you guys little tidbits of information to help along the way there. Okay. Yeah, this was never really a strength of mine, and then I just started messing around with it. And I found out that it wasn't so hard. Okay. Our strand is getting shorter, so we will maybe have to tie in a little bit more strand. So you may want to do maybe about 40 or 42 inches, guys. I think that would probably serve you better, so you don't have to tie in more string. I mean, it's possible to do. It's not a big deal, but just to keep it simple. I couldn't remember how much I used because it's been a while since I made this project. So I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. You know me. Oops. I'm getting a little wild there. There we go. Okay. And 3 more pearls here. Okay. And then one last knot on this pearl. Nope, 4 more pearls, excuse me. And the nice thing, and we'll see, because maybe I won't need as many, because here's the 6-inch mark. And that's another wonderful thing about this. You can see that's where your pearls land, is about at the 1 inch. So we'll have about 6 inches. I may do 6 1/4 just to allot for that little bit at the top. But this has the measure right on it, so it works really well. Joan says, I hate when I get too little cord when doing macrame. Me too, sweetie. Me too. And we'll tell you what, I think I'm just going to put, well, let's see. Let's write it out. See how it goes. I was going to tie some on, but then I thought, you know what? We're not that far out of being done. So let's give her a go and see what happens to finish that up there. Get around that the way I want it to be. There we go. No, we're definitely not going to have enough. All right, so let's finish this section, and then I'll put some string in. Okay, so I'm just going to take another piece of thread here. And this is how I do it. You guys may know some other ways. But it is perfect for summer, Maria. I agree. I'm just going to cut another piece here. And if you guys do it another way, let me know. But I just tie it onto the leather, just like we did at the beginning. Just give myself a little knot there, just to kind of hide it in there. Because I don't get myself too worked up if, there's a slight difference. But you can see that blends right in. It blends right into the macrame piece. So we're just going to tie that one more time. Then what I'll do at the end with the ends here, I'll cut these and put a little glue on them to make sure they don't fray. Oh, that would be cute as a little girl's bracelet too. Definitely. You could make it small. Ilea says, I have black pearls with big holes that my husband got me a long time ago. Now I have the perfect project to use them. Wonderful. I'd love to hear that. Okay, so let's slide up our next pearl. Just like so. And continue on. Those pearls are slippery to get that string where you want them. Kind of fiddle with it a little bit. There. Oh. Oh, you gotta have fun with it, guys, right? Okay. There we go. So let's do this side then. Slippery little suckers. There we go. That one's actually a little loose. So I'm going to go back, do the same thing. I'm going to use my little knot puller. You can see I left a little bit too much space there. But knowing that you can go in and do this, it makes it nice, because especially when you're first learning, you don't have to feel like everything's kind of locked in. You can just go out and open your knot up and start over and put things where you want them. And I feel like I'm going to tighten this just a smidge hair more, because I feel like it's sagging. So I'm just going to pull that a little bit tighter. I just undid my little screw there and tightened it up a little bit. I think that'll help. So sorry about the dogs, guys. I wish I could do something about it, but unfortunately, they are just kind of what they are sometimes. I love the blue and white combo. Thank you, Deb. Deb, my buddy. We're going to be doing some classes together. It's going to be super fun. We're going to be teaching. Terry says, I also love the embroidery floss idea. So many vibrant colors to choose from. Eileen says, don't worry about the doggies. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. I hate it, but it's par for the course at my house. You guys know that already. And Terry, I saw you said, somebody asked, how long of a bracelet can you make on this? Well, it goes up to 10 inches. The end does. So I would say, I'd probably say about 9 inches is where you would stop. But 8 to 9 inches, it would give you enough to be able to do a bracelet for most folks anyway. Okay. And we're getting there, slow but sure. You can't hear me, Sabrina? Perfect. I love making a variety of sizes. So I have plenty of embroidery. I love to cross stitch too, Sabrina says. And she said she can't hear me. Are you still having problems, Sabrina? And if so, can everyone else hear me? Because if so, Sabrina, you just have to go out and come back in usually. Terry can hear me. Joan can hear. So I would say, Sabrina, go out and come back in, honey, and that'll get you where you need to be most of the time. Okay. So we're about at 6 inches. So I'm going to call this pearl my last pearl because we're going to be putting a little bit of the square knots on the end. So I want to make sure I have it where I need it. So we're doing the right side. Get that where I want it. Left side. And that's the nice thing about putting your pearls or your beads onto that leather. Oh, you can hear now. Good, good. Refresh your screen, Sabrina, or leave and come back in. Oh, thank you. And Karen can hear. Good, good. Eileen can hear. Good. Deb can hear. Good. We're good to go, guys. Thank you. Okay. So let's do the left side here. So we are going to do, we want to have about the same length that we have on the other side, which I did 2 rounds on that. So we're going to end it the same way as we did up there. We started it, okay? Okay, so we're looking about the same. We're sitting at about 6 inches. Everything's looking fairly even. So I think we're at a good place to stop. So I'm going to tie my thread. I'm going to do 2 knots here in the end just to secure everything. Do like some nice little knots. Okay. Sorry, it's out of screen there, not helping, right? There we go. So I did 2 knots. And now what we can do is we can glue our knots and then cut off the string. But first we're going to take it out of our tying station. And that's just that simple. And that other pearl just comes right off. We can set that to the side because we didn't need that. And we'll set our tying station to the side. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bag and put underneath this while I glue because I am famous for getting glue on bead mats. So I think that came out really well. I'm going to just turn my pearls where I want them, the ones that were kind of giving me a hard time. Get them lined up. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to take, let me grab my GS Hypo, guys. I don't have that over here. Let me grab it real quick. And I always get a paper towel when I'm getting my GS Hypo out because I want to make sure that I can put the cap on without losing most of it. So I'm just going to look and see where our knots are here. Now, when you're using your GS Hypo, just in case you do not know, you just want to warm it in your hand. You can take the plug out of it. It's just like a little wire that goes inside of it. Do not squeeze your GS Hypo. Okay, we're just letting that warm up, and you can see there's a little bead forming on the end of that. I hope you can see it anyway. And we're just going to put that on where we tied off our knots. Okay. Just to make sure, like when we cut, it doesn't fray and that everything stays nice and solid for us. So I'm just going to glue these little knots that we made at this end. And we do not have to glue these because it all became part of the, move up a little bit, or part of the piece. You don't have to glue up at the top there. So yeah, that's all you need to do. So we got our glue on there. And I'm going to take my GS Hypo. I always have a paper towel handy, like I said. I keep the tip of my GS Hypo down onto the paper towel so you don't get like that glob of glue on the end. And I kind of just angle the GS Hypo down and then stick the needle in the end. And any glue that's coming out, because you know it will be coming out, will get absorbed on the paper towel and you have a much cleaner tip. And your lids don't get stuck on and things like that. So I hope that's a good tip for you that you can use. Okay, so we're going to cut our threads. Ideally, I'd wait a little bit till this dried, but we'll go ahead and move forward. You guys get the idea. So I'm going to cut my threads close to the piece. All right. Perfect. And we have our knots there glued. So now what we have to do, guys, is put our ends on and our clasp. And we'll have this thing licked. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut the length of my piece of my leather, okay, so that I know I have this that's going to go over top of it. Okay, this is a leather end, and it's going to go kind of against there. I want it pretty close to there. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to guesstimate where I want it, and I'm just going to cut the leather. And I'm going to put this on and I'm going to eyeball it and see if that's where I want it. And that will work perfect because I can just lift that up a little bit because I don't want the end sticking out of the end of the leather end. We don't want the end of the leather sticking out. If that made sense, I hope so. So I'm just going to go in there then and just give this a squeeze. And then I'm going to flip it and do the same thing on the other side and just give it a squeeze. I don't know, guys, these ends are like the best thing since sliced bread. If you haven't tried them, I highly recommend them. And then you just check, make sure everything's nice and snug, and you're just squeezing the middle of that. Why is yours not gushing all out? Mine hates me. Very pretty bracelet. Thank you. It must be one squeeze I gave the tube. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, you don't want to squeeze your GS Hypo. That turns into a big hot mess. Hey, when I was first starting out, I used to do it all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this mess? So there we go. We're going to trim that one as well and do the same thing. Put the end on that side. And I'm just using chain nose pliers to give this a good squeeze. You want to make sure you have a solid solid plier to squeeze these. You don't want to be using like your tweezer pliers or anything because they have a thinner beak area, for lack of a better term, on them. Okay. So we're just going to give that a squeeze. We're going back and forth on the sides just to make sure everything is nice and snug. Everything's hooked in, caught underneath. And there we go. So all we have to do now, guys, is put on our jump rings. I told you this was a quick and easy project. So I just have some textured jump rings here. I think these are 6 millimeters. I can check them though for you guys so you know. Let's see. We have 5, 6. Actually, they're 8 millimeter. I apologize. They're 8, but you could use whatever works for you. I mean, really, it's for the length that you need. And that's why I like doing it this way, because if you need to add jump rings on the end to adjust the size once you make it, you can do that. It gives you a little bit of leeway there. Okay. So now on your textured jump ring, which is always a challenge trying to find where the opening is, you just open your jump ring front to back as always. And we're going to put this beautiful little sunflower clasp onto our bracelet. And just through the loops on the end. Okay. Right. And same thing on the other side with this side of it. Look how cute that is. Terry says, and putting that needle in with aging eyes, the paper towel is a great idea. Thank you, Terry. Joan says, sometimes it takes a while for the glue to warm up in my hand, especially if my hands are cool or cold. Yes, it will. And in the cooler months, it'll work slower. And in the hotter months, of course, it works quicker. So I'm just going to hook that on here. Put my clasp on. I have to open that up just a smidge more, I think. Close our jump ring. And there we have it, guys. Just that quick and easy. I mean, that took 45 minutes, not even. And that's a cute little summertime bracelet for you. Just something new, something interesting. And it for these beads, these pearls in particular, you see how it's going around the center band of the pearl? That's because there's a little indent around the center of these, and it just works perfectly. You could use whatever pearls. I'm sure it would still work great for you. But I like that these oblong ones have like a belly band on them almost, that I can put that string down over and it can stay in there, you know. So there we go, guys. Is that a JJB clasp? Of course it is, Maria. You know that. Sometimes it takes a while for the... Okay, sorry. I already read that one, Joan. Beautiful. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Joan. Let's turn this around. See how long it takes this time. There. Oh, that was fast, guys. That was fast. So there you go, guys. A fun little summer project. Something to wear on the beach, to wear with your sundress. Just kind of like, you know, a simple little project. This would be a really nice gift for someone too. Who doesn't like pearls? And like I said, with the color variations, you can make it more muted. You can make a brighter one. You know, I think they even make variegated embroidery floss. Correct me if I'm wrong, for the folks that actually know, but that it has like multiple colors in it, almost like a rainbow or something. But thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. So glad. So glad. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. Next week, I have a really fun, unique project for us. I'm going to be putting that live up soon, so be on the lookout for that event. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please head over and do so. Check me out on all my social media. All of my links are in the description, as always. My affiliate links are down there. So if you do decide to purchase anything, please, from Joel Loom, Jesse James Beads, it doesn't cost you any extra to use my affiliate links. It just helps me out, guys. So thanks for that. Thanks for always doing that. So take care, guys, and I will see you guys next week.